folks, welcome back to another Poem Mass video. So this video is actually suggested by one of the viewers in one of our last videos. I think it was the one where we were going over, the list of my favorite units from 2022. And they suggested, how about let's do a list for some of the most improved units over here. And we're not gonna do exactly that because here's the thing, trying to evaluate this is very, very difficult because like there's so many metrics, right? How do you want to do it? Like, do you want to go with like how much better like a unit was before and like how big of a improvement this is, or do you want to go with how fitting is this improvement, or how much better does this improvement make this unit, or how good this overall unit that got improved, right? Because there's a lot of those factors, right? Because like, for example, if you just go on for only on one factor, right? For example, let's just go with who got like the most improvements? For example, if we only do that factor, like the top unit over here would be like what's his face, that guy, right? Charon, and he'd be like number one because everyone else on this list only got either a grid, a small grid expansion where they got like 4 or 5, 6 nodes, and like some others got like an EX or whatever, or some just like a power boost. But like Charon got like an EX, a full grid expansion, and all of that stuff. But then on the other hand, are the improvements good? I mean, they're okay, but the improvements aren't like really, really good. And is the unit good overall after, it got all those, because again, he got an entire grid, right? No, not really. The unit is not very that good. Not very that good, whatever that means. After like all that stuff, so it's hard to go on like one metric alone, right? Or you could say, what if we just go with how fitting the improvements are for like a certain unit? Then, like some just don't, or the best, or just ranking the strongest units overall that got improvements. Then like you could have like Cyrus all the way up there, and like Cyrus is probably one of the best units over here. I mean, I'm not sure he'd be number one, but he'd be like, Cyrus would be like top 3, right? Because Cyrus is that good of a unit. But then if you look at like the improvements, how good Cyrus is of a unit has almost nothing to do with any of his improvements that he got, right? Because like is the best way to use Cyrus is still hydro pump Cyrus, right? That's still his strongest, and he got like nothing for almost nothing for hydro pump, right? Like, okay, the extra like stat buffs, but he got almost nothing for hydro pump, and like all the stuff that he got was like for either his nuke stuff or spatial rend stuff, which none of those really help him in the best case scenario when you're trying to use Cyrus. Because trying to use Cyrus, obviously the best case scenario would be running him with a range support, which A, you're syncing with that support EX first, and then B, you're probably running some other like water nuker, which would be much better than Cyrus would be the one of the best units, right? But like his improvement is like it's there. Also, I'm splitting this into like just 5 stars versus the 3 and 4 stars because there's like too many. So yeah, I thought that would be better. But yeah, so it's gonna be a very probably failed attempt at trying to balance all these different factors, right? Like how good the unit is, how much did they get in terms of improvements, how good their improvements are, how much better they were pre, post improvement. Did these improvements, how much did these improvements fix their needs? I feel like that's also a big one, right? Like, did these improvements fix their biggest issues with this unit, right? Because anyways, so let's get into this. So it's basically all the units that got, well, not all of them. Like there's a few that I did put on here because like, let's be honest, like they're not really, they're not really in contention for like anything. So it's just units that got they're either a 6-star EX or grid expansion or power boost, right? So that's only like, we're not going to be talking about, Brendan's Septile got massively improved this year because there's finally Grassy Drain. Well, I mean, this year we got almost a zone for almost every type, right? That didn't have a multiplier before, and then, you know, we also got the grassy, like, there's rebuffs, like, that's way too much to really consider, right? It's just units that, like, got, like, physical or virtual physical improvements somewhere on their kit directly, right? So based on those few factors. I guess before we get into that, we get a few, like, honorable mentions in here. The first one being, I guess Xenia, she's kind of in, like, a same situation as Cyrus. Did she get a new and improved buff, right, with her Mega Rayquaza? Obviously, she did. Does her new Mega thing help her that much? Not really, because the thing that she got on her Mega was, like, she replaced Aerial Ace for Dragon Ascent, which is much better. But again, the strongest version of Xenia has nothing to do with Dragon Ascent. Dragon Ascent is Draco Meteor Xenia is just still stronger than Dragon Ascent, but she did get that, you know, extra special attack buff after she megas. So it's similar to, like, Cyrus sort of deal. So I guess you could also have Cyrus there in a honorable mention, although the Cyrus thing isn't as interesting as the Xenia buff, I guess. So yeah, let's see what else. I suppose Lyra could also be, like, a bit of an honorable mention. She really didn't get much other than an EX, but it's nice that she got an EX, because, like, running Lyra, if you're running, like, Solar Eyes, right, you want to sync with her to get, well, Sun, right, and she just didn't have a support EX before this, and now she does. It's just not, like, that, like, huge of a buff, right, and also, it came a bit too little too late, because, you know, by the time she got her EX, we already had, like, much better units that do similar jobs that she could do, and obviously not exactly the same, right? Like, for example, Singsuit Morty, right, which is also a sunsetting support, who doesn't buff as much as Lyra does, that's for sure, but also, like, 100 times tankier than Lyra. Because Lyra is not that great of a tank, unfortunately. So yeah, that's some honorable mentions, I suppose. So number 10, I suppose maybe Marnie, and honestly, when I was doing this list, I only, like, really had, like, 9 that I felt like really had, like, you know, either significant buffs or really fitting ones, or, like, you know, all the stuff that I said beforehand, and I just had to, like, fill that, like, last slot to make it 10, so it's like top 10 instead of top 9, which is, you know, no one clicks on top 9. Right, but I guess of all the ones left, I feel like Marnie could get a mention here, I suppose. It's not like she got nothing. She got some good stuff, right? She did definitely get some good stuff. I mean, Disheartening Shock is really, you know, it's decent, right? You know, debuff the opponent's defense as a physical damage dealer is good. That's good, right? And then obviously Dashing Team 9 is just really nice. Dashing Team 9 is definitely very good. Her 4 to 5 notes kind of are whatever. Like Numbing Blow, okay, it's cool. It just makes your paralysis less, it's a bit more reliable, even though it's already decently reliable before with, like, Thundershock on, like, Cosmo at 5. But I guess, okay, sure. And then, like, the other thing, Critical Eye. I don't think this one matters that much, honestly, because you're getting, like, +1 here, so you're really getting, like, +2, and it means you have to use Snack Time, like, twice still. It's not like, which you just have someone else buff it instead, where you either only have to use Snack Time once, or, like, not at all, or, like, I just don't think this really moves the needle. As for, like, the 2 out of 5 ones, Super Duper Effective 1 is alright for, I guess, Power Trip, right? Which is still her main method of you know, DPS, but, Lucky Engines, whatever. But, I mean, she's still a very powerful unit, even before this buff, so I guess she does, you know, she could have this 10th spot, I suppose, right? The grid doesn't completely fix all her issues. Didn't add a lot of things here. Not that she had, like, too many issues that she really needed to cover, to be fair. I guess just better buffs would have been nice, but, or a bit more damage. And I don't know, but it's fine. I was just trying my best to like find someone else at this last spot. So Marnie, I guess, sure. It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, after Marnie is and look, dude, again, she does have like the one thing that like she's already like really good of unit. Like she's gonna be better than like a lot of these units ahead of her overall as a unit. It's just that like improvement wise, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, next is when like starting from the next unit is when we actually get some like really fun improvements that we could actually talk about, right? So number 9 over here is a Glacia. Oh my god, look at them, man, making the worst Stumble 5-star in the game into still not incredible, but much better. Right? Glacia is an example of very high on the like how like much better like post improvement. Oh, maybe not even that. Like just like how much this unit appreciates these buffs. Like pre and post buff. Like yeah, she's very high on that. She's relatively low on even after the buffs. She's still like not like great. She's solid usable, but like you know, she's okay. Right? So again, a lot of these like different metrics do come into play here. But yeah, like holy crap, like again, she was almost indisputably the worst Stumble 5-star in the game. Right? And then like she got some stuff, man. She got the you know, the defenses are nice. Not that it makes her like that's still like barely like 200 defense. And her mega also doesn't give her any of that, so that really sucks. That really like, oh man, imagine if her mega actually gave her like defense and special defense, and then like boom, pick this up, and then like after that, like you could actually like she could actually have some like legitimate tanking stats. Also terrible HP stat as well. So is she a good tank now? No, she's a better tank than she was before, which was one of the worst tanks that people actually call a tank in the game. Maybe up there with Caitlyn. Regular Caitlyn, not full Caitlyn, obviously. Yeah. The improvements are astounding in the sense that wow, they made a borderline like useless unit. She wasn't completely useless before, but borderline. I mean, she has like the regen stuff. +2 special attack buffs. This pathetically sad kit into usable and dare I say useful, right? Because you got stuff like Focus Group 9. First of all, could buff. You know, that's a way of max crit buff. It's not like the best because like it takes like 3 turns, but still, you could at least max crit buff there. You have Healthy Buffer 5. Who could, you know, that could help you tank a few hits, especially since you are a unit with regen. Man, if only Glacia like actually had like good like tanking stuff, because like they gave her like some like trash stuff. Like durable is kind of trash, but like if they gave her like really good defenses, that they don't even have to be like crazy good, like just decent enough defenses, and then gave her some defense boosts. Like, or better defense boost than whatever the heck this is, right? That on top of Healthy Buffer 5, on top of her like gradual healing, she could become a legitimate like really nice tank. But they didn't, and she, you know, she's just like okay, mediocre tank. But synchro healing as well, which is very good, especially in Legendary Gauntlet, right? So yeah, she got some. She's usable, man. She's usable. Not that she was completely unusable before, but. It's a miracle, bro. Glacia. Again, the overall unit is probably the worst of all of these, right? Which is also part of the reason why she isn't like higher. And also, they didn't completely fix all of her issues. In fact, they barely... Like, okay, they fixed the biggest issue that she had, which was she does nothing. Not literally, but, you know. But, yeah, I guess. But yeah, there's still quite a lot of issues and holes with this unit. Obviously, again, they could have did something better than this, and like gave her like reliable defense buffs. That would have been nice. in conjunction with Health Heat Buffer and Synchro Healing and her gradual healing on her. That would have made her really, really, really cool. Maybe they could have gave her like some like crazy freeze chance, I guess. But that would be like way too much, I guess. But no, man, Glacia's solid. Holy crap. Next up on the list, we got the one that's not officially out yet, but you know, sometime soon maybe, allegedly. Fantina over here. Fantina got a legit buff, man. Like, look at this stuff. First of all, Smarty Pants for a sync nuke, fantastic. Sharp entry is really, really, really nice because, again, the unit in comparison to like some of the other ones maybe isn't better than some of the other ones above, but one thing that she does have that I really do like in terms of this grid upgrade made it so that she's at least completely self-sufficient on crits now, right? Still not on special attack, which I guess could have been a bit better if we also had like ramp up on like her training move. That would have been perfect almost, right? But you know, I'll take that, I guess. Like maybe instead of super preparation. Well, super preparation is nice too. I mean, that again, super preparation on the you know, maxed out Smarty Pants nuke with some of these extra. Because one thing that she does have is she does have a lot of these extra sync move power up nodes as well. So that would have been something really, really nice. And obviously, the big one over here, Mind Games 4, 3% chance to debuff opponent special defense is just good overall. Not to mention, in conjunction with Smarty Pants, and you also have double on a roll here on your Shadow Ball as well, which is a base 20% chance to begin with, which is not bad, right? It's not great either, but it's not bad. So yeah, Fantina got a really, 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 really nice buff. Really, really happy to see this. Can't wait to actually try her out once it comes out allegedly soon. Moving on to number 7 over here, probably Raihan. Raihan got a really nice buff, like just damage wise. He just got like the big damage buff, right? You got Cakewalk over here as another multiplier, or Sync Nuke multiplier, and then you have Wedded Dwarf 3, which is both multiplier for 30%, which is very, very good because you almost always want to run him in weather anyways, right? Especially sand. Sand Sync is okay, I suppose. It's not like necessary, but since you are having like Cakewalk, which makes him actually a good nuker now, right? Which he wasn't like absolutely terrible because he's not like something like Sandblaster over here and just solid, you know, base stats, but you know, it made him a much better nuker, so that's decent. And then Trip Twice, obviously you need that to really make Cakewalk work unless you're running like another speed debuffer on the side. So he just got a really, really nice overall just damage buff, right? In terms of like damage wise, he's probably like one of the top ones here. I just kind of wish they gave him a little more self-sufficiency, which he needed a bit, right? Which is why, again, even though some units are probably better, they got better buffs here and there on different things like damage, right? I might not value as much, because like, yeah, damage is cool and all, but a lot of other things I do kind of value a bit more, right? Especially in this case, like for example, maybe instead of Sand Sink, could have gotten, or the Sphere Sentry too. Maybe if you got like Sharp Entry 1, you know, so you could max out his crit. That would have been really nice, I think. I think that would have been really, really cool. But anyways, it's all right. All the other stuff is definitely really, really nice. But if you really got like a Sharp Entry, I'd you know, you'd shoot up the list, right? Because he's really good in terms of the stuff that he got. Next up on the list, we have Mr. Lysander himself. Lysander got a pretty nice buff. And Lysander, like in terms of his buffs, he did get some damage stuff, which he pretty desperately needed, I almost want to say. Because Lysander has a lot of good things going for him in terms of like his self-sufficiency. It's not completely, you know, there, but it's decent, right? Although he does have it now with this Grand Entry too over here, right? But you know, that's always solid. And obviously, you know, you could tank with him, which is really, really nice as well. You know, he got the Dark Pulse aggravation stuff, which is pretty, you know, huge, right? So yeah, he just does not have great damage, right? Not like it was like absolutely terrible before, because after getting like Dark Zone and Flying Zone, obviously it was much better, but Yeah, he lacked a lot in the damage department in comparison to some like similar stature units, right? So the damage is nice, even though I literally said damage is obviously not everything. But that's not all he got, right? Grand Entry over here makes him totally self-sufficient, right? Which is very nice. Natural Remedy, also really, really good if you're trying to tank with him, obviously, right? And then outside of that, you got stuff like Downside Up, which is very, very nice because your trainer move does debuff your defenses. So like instead of that, boom, Downside Up, you get +2 defense, special defense, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for a tank like him who is based on healing, any bit over there helps, especially since he has the combination of self heals on Oblivion Wing and healthy buffer 5, right? That's just that plus the Downside Up, right? It's just really good. Sync Damage Guard can also be really, really useful. You do have to kind of sort of time it though. In my gauntlet run with him, you know, had to time that. So like I synced right before Top Bulu Woodhammered. But if you do time it right, that could also be very, very helpful. So you definitely got a pretty good all around sort of grid upgrade where you got self-sufficiency, you got help with tanking, and you got damage. Like boom, like he got almost everything there, right? That he really wanted. So yeah, got a really, really good grid here. Next up, number 5, I would say probably Karen. Again, like I'd say like these 3, however you want to shuffle them are fine generally. It depends on you, right? Yeah, what you value more. If you do value like, okay, I value overall damage for this, you know, like Raihan would be like, you know, very, 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 very much up there, right? But yeah, it depends. But Karen Houndum over here got a really, really nice one. The big issue with Karen Houndum was never stuff like self-sufficiency, because she was basically self-sufficient. Would it be nice if it, instead of 4 turns to max out everything, it was 3 turns? Yeah, I guess it would have been nice. But in terms of like the other stuff that she got here, she fixed her biggest issue, right? Her biggest issue is, oh my god, she does 1 billion damage on her Dark Pulses when fully powered up with all those multipliers, Dark Zone, all that stuff. But you have to sync with her. And if you don't sync with her, you don't get Dark Pulse at all. And her sync is garbage. Well, they fixed that. Completely fixed that. Sync Powerflux, Devastation, 2 massive, massive sync nuke multipliers, right? And it's not like that's all she got. She also got Dark Pulse Aggravation 2, which is really, really nice. Sapphire Star is alright. You know, would be nice if you pair it up with Dark Pulse, but, or Dark Pulse Overpower, but generally, if you really want Dark Pulse Overpower, I'd probably suggest just have someone else debuff special attack instead, and just focus your like energy picking up like stuff like this, you know, which is probably better, right? And maybe, you know, sync move power up those now that she can actually do some really, really good damage on those syncs. So yeah, Houndoom got a really, really nice buff. That again, the aggravation 2 on Dark Pulse is just really, really cool. And yeah, the special attack, speed, all that stuff, right? And then boom, get Mega Houndoom in there. Great things happen. Great things happen. Great expansion, I'd say. Next on the list, maybe Enon Zekrom? Maybe? Yeah, Enon Zekrom got a pretty good expansion over here. His expansion, like if you do want to compare his expansion to something like, you know, Karen or Lysander or Raihan or even Fantina, honestly, he's like nowhere close to how much like damage stuff those units got. Those units got so much more in terms of like damage boosting, and like really he only got like static boost 3, which is like nice, but it's only like 30%. I thought it applies to both sync and regular moves. So like damage wise, he didn't get like that good of a buff over here, but that's where I talk about the part where I really like about his grid, which is the non-damage stuff. Trainer move follow through, which is, by the way, not even a 4 out of 5, it's a 2 out of 5 grid expansion, right? Follow through in combination with Focus Rush 3, right? And then Berserker 2 as well. These three down here, fantastic. almost completely fixed all of Zekrom's issues. Cause could Zekrom got more damage stuff? Okay, maybe. Like, I mean, anyone could always get more damage stuff, sure, but he didn't really need it. Like, his damage was already pretty good, right? Even before this, so you know, I was really hoping that he didn't get, you know, too much damage stuff, and he got stuff like what he got exactly over here, right? Which is completely self-sufficient. Completely self-sufficient, right? You use follow through, boom, get critical, you know, next, and then by that time you're probably saying, because, you know, 1 train to move, 2 X attacks, which, by the way, those 2 X attacks, in combination with that 1, you know, train to move over here, that's plus 6 physical attack in 3 turns, and then you sync, or I guess unless you're like syncing with the export or something else, right? Or by the time you next attack, which, by the way, you already have a guaranteed crit over here, boom, focus rush through, you're plus 3 crit, and plus 6 physical attack. Completely self-sufficient. How cool is that? In my opinion, very cool. Very, very cool. So even though, like, he's nowhere close to the damage that Raihan got, nowhere close to the damage that, again, even someone like Fantina got, this is what it's, it's made him a lot better, which was his biggest issue before Thunderbolt Red came out. But now that Thunderbolt Red came out, it's like not as bad, because Thunderbolt Red is a Electrain setter that also doubles as a really good damage deal, so you could, you know, it's not that bad if you really run a support there. But, you know, if you don't have Thunderbolt Red, this is fantastic, right? And again, it's not like you got nothing for it. You got like 30% here, which is not nothing. It's not great. It's not even that bad, man. Like, he gets on like both his sync and physical or regular moves. It's not that bad, man. Also, Environment 4 is okay, I guess. I mean, it's nice, like, if you want to paralyze, but, you know, it's generally not that big of an issue, because, like, he has like piercing blows himself. So yeah, good upgrade, right? Again, like, none, it's not damage stuff, but it's all the other stuff that makes it really, really nice, at least in my opinion. But again, if you disagree, if you think the damage stuff more important, then okay, sure, you can have these guys higher, but I like his better. Okay. All right, we're in top 3 territory, and speaking of top 3, let's get to number 3, Cynthia and Mega Garchomp over here. Oh my god. Wow. Thank you, whoever does these things at the NA, for making Cynthia actually good again. Because Cynthia had a very, very tough road of, when she first came out, trash. Everyone thinks she's garbage. Everyone thinks like Lance was so much better. And then afterwards, oh my god, she's, you know, once the meta changed in terms of the big thing was Bowville, and oh my god, Cynthia suddenly very, 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 very good. And then afterwards, after better units came out, oh, Cynthia sucks again. Terrible for a long time, until maybe this new Sandstorm setter that's really, really nice, right? Ingo. Maybe Ingo could help Cynthia a lot. Suddenly, Cynthia got a bit better. And then stuff like Groudon comes in, helps. Even better. And then like Courtney, Ground Zone. Is Cynthia back? And then now, finally, with this sort of expanded grid. Oh, it's semi-fully expanded. Like, do keep in mind, Cynthia got these for like free, so it's not even like, it's not a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. Like, these are, you know, these are like 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 nodes. So like, she could even get buffed further in the future with like the 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 nodes. So her buff isn't over, by the way, right? But yeah, these are great, man. Haymaker. Cynthia had the same issue with Karen, to a lesser extent, because Karen, like, literally you had to do it. Cynthia, it's like more so, it'd be nice to have Mega Garchomp out there, right? But yeah, like, she's actually a really, really good Sync-Nuker now with Sandblaster 5 and Haymaker over here. That's like 2 Sync-Nuker multipliers, boom, just slapped onto her. Very, very cool, very, very powerful. Super duper effective 5-2 against ground weak specific stages, obviously, which is a pretty, well, that's 50% buff on her DPS, which is a lot. And then she also has Fierce Entry, makes it that she's fully self-sufficient. Boom. I guess she doesn't like set sand herself, but like, okay, use a sand setter. Ace of Rolls free. Tech boot hops. But yeah, no. Her, she got a fantastic expansion, and also obviously the free stuff. I mean, everyone gets free stuff, but these are good. Attack speed, fantastic. Got that Mega Garchomp finally actually usable over here, so she definitely got a really, really good one. Also, maybe some extra points for them not being 4 out of 5. Not really, but personally, I would give extra points for that. All right. Next up on the list. Oh, boy. Oh, is this a good one? Holy crap. Silver and Ho-Oh. Silver and Ho. Just go to show like how much of an absolute smashing success the Johto Villain arc was, right? Like Johto Villain arc like killed it out of the park. The mass fairs were fantastic. The Poke fairs were fantastic. The story was good. The outfits were great, right? The music was good. Everything was fantastic. I mean, we got a lot of free stuff, gems and all that. And the free unit upgrade, Silver and Ho-Oh, probably, I would say, so far, of all the legendary event units that got upgraded during the villain arcs, this is the best one. This is the best one, like, by far, right? Because, again, like, are Zinnia and Cyrus really, 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 really good units? Yes, but it's not so much, like, the upgrade that made them, that great. But, like, for Silver, the upgrades actually really, really fitted him, and he needed every single one of those upgrades, man. He needed every single one of them. Also, the other, part of the other factor is him individually as a unit is incredibly powerful, right? I mean, he might be the strongest unit overall on this list. I mean, there's close, like Raihan's really, really good. But yeah, like he's like, even like the upgrades, like if like consider everything, like if you're just ranking this as a list in terms of all the units that got upgrades, who's the strongest, he's easily top 3, right? He's incredibly powerful unit overall, and like this is just, oh my god, Berserker 2, Ramp Up 2, man, he needed this one. That was Silver's biggest issue by far his biggest issue. He had crazy good DPS, right? He has sets Infinite Sun. All that stuff is great. All that stuff is fine. All that stuff is fantastic. He got no self-buffs, man. His self-buffs are absolutely atrocious, right? But this made it incredible, right? Because he needed both of them. Right? Because obviously your DPS, unless you're running like Sacred Fire DPS, I guess, but like Sacred Fire DPS is not that good. But Overheat, obviously, and Solar Beam are both special moves, and then his sync move is physical, which, by the way, speaking of his sync move, outside of his, what he had already, right, he got the extra Solar Flare 9, which is 90% sync nuke multiplier. Very, 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 very powerful, right? And you also have Super Command over here, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but, that's an extra super effective up next, right? Whether you wanted to use it on a Sync Nuke or a Solar Beam or Overheat Blast, like, this guy was just the combination of he got what he needed. Was it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Perfect would have been Ramp Up 3 and Berserker 3 over here, but you know what? Ramp Up 2 and Berserker 2, I'll take it still. Because you could still get the NPR in his training move, I guess, if you want to max it out. But like, unless you're like trying to do like showcase videos, like his damage is like good enough with +4 over there. And yeah, again, Solar Flare 9 makes his Sync Nuke incredibly powerful. Obviously, the big issue is, well, Silver, he can't get Sun up when he's syncing for himself, which is true. Unless, again, you run some Sync Move Countdown or Flinch, whatever teams, right? Skip turn teams. But like, if you're, like, we're just considering, in the best case scenario for Silver, you'd have someone else setting Sun for him. Someone else like SS Morty, right? Who, fantastic support overall, could set Sun for Silver's nuke, right? And guess what? Silver needs that extra, +2 on both physical and special attack. Guess who has exactly +2 physical and special attack buffs as his Morty. So it's not a perfect like grid, but everything he got there he absolutely needed, and he's just a monster of a unit. Absolute monster of a unit. Overall, it's just really powerful. Again, it's not as perfect as like the N one, right? Like the N, like that was a perfect upgrade, right? But like Silver's just better, right? Silver's just better than like almost everyone on here, and he desperately needed these, man. He really wanted these. So fantastic upgrade. Plus it's free. Again, I'm trying my best not to factor these into it, but but it's nice, right? And also just like, yeah, like he's just such a good unit, man. Such a good unit. Oh my god, Silver, man. This guy's free. This guy is free, bro. Also, the 6-star EX, obviously, which makes it so that, you know, because the 6-star EX for Silver also really nice, because if you're running Silver, right, unless you're trying to get like an EX support sync in first, right, almost every single sync you're syncing with him, because like that's kind of the point of bringing in Silver, so you could sync with him to get like infinite sun. So as a unit who has to sync every time, like for example, Karen's one of those units that has to sync, right, but she only has to sync once. He has to sync every single time, so having that extra 6-star EX upgrade to him is also obviously very nice, because you're syncing with him every time anyway, so might as well have that, you know, EX Striker sync hit everyone, which is pretty cool. So all right, that's number 2 over here. Okay, we only have one more left. Number 1 on this list. Can you guys guess it? Of these, like there's just like 5 remaining. It's pretty obvious. It is Caleb. It is not Caleb. I'm sorry, CD. It's Chris, man. Holy, Chris got everything, man. Chris got everything. This is, like, honestly, this is borderline cheating. Like, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to give a unit 2 free stat buffs that are to the same stat, because like every other unit is like, you know, one's, you know, some damage dealer sometimes, oh, like +20 attack, +20 speed or whatever, right? Something, and defense is like +40 HP, +20 defense or whatever, right? No, you know, they make the rules, and they made an exception over here. Obviously there's no actual rule, they do whatever they want, but they just made it somehow. Oh, okay, we're gonna give Chris +40 physical attack instead. Just give her 2 +20 attacks. Screw the you know, conventions, screw patterns. We're just gonna give her +40. Insane. It's an insane thing, which by the way she really needed, because if you look at, because Chris had a lot of downsides. This is an incredibly flawed unit, do keep in mind, right? But before this grid buff, she's a very flawed unit. And even though her actual numbers weren't that bad, but like people just generally like trash on her because like she's water type, and water type has a billion incredible units, right? But yeah, she had massive issues. Her big one was her physical attack is terrible. 285 physical attack is like, holy, that is bad. And her self-sufficiency, terrible as well, no crit, and you know, like every other turn you're gonna miss a mega kick and deal 0 damage because you missed it, right? All that stuff. But she got everything fixed. Is there a single unit that got buffs over here that fixed every single one of their issues? I don't think so, right? I think Chris is literally like, you know, kind of the only one over here, I think. Okay, maybe like everything minus the max, you know, physical attack. But like outside of that, right? Crit focus 1, right, makes her completely self-sufficient on her crits now. The +40 attack, which fixed her atrociously bad physical attack issue, right? And super powered 5 for even extra damage. Again, 50% multiplier is not a joke, right? Again, it is only on water weak stages, so do you want to knock, you know, give her a knock for that? Okay, I wouldn't blame you, sure. But like 50% is 50%, right? Pinpoint entry 2, +2 accuracy for your mega kick, right? Not like literally +2, like from 75 to like 77, but like +2 accuracy stat buffs for a mega kick, so we don't have to worry about that mega kick as much. I mean, you know, still not. But, and then boom, you got inertia as a second sync nuke multiplier. This is, again, if only there's like Berserker 1 somewhere over here on like her like X tag or whatever. This is like the, or like what's the opposite of Grand Entry 2, like that like this would be like the absolute perfect grid expansion. Fixes every single one of her issues, right? From damage to self-sufficiency to accuracy of her low accuracy, high BP. Because like Mega Kick, do keep in mind, like, why was her damage still okay despite like terrible physical attack? Because Mega Kick has like an insanely high BP over here, right? Insanely high BP. And again, you fixed everything, man. Meg kicks, right? Less misses. Physical attack. Even more damage on Mega Kick, which was totally unnecessary, but like, alright. Slay, I guess. Self-sufficiency on her crit. And then another sync nuke multiplier on top of having Haymaker. This is an insane unit, man. Insane upgrade overall, right? And yeah, it's just like, yeah, overall as unit, like, who would have thought, man? Who would have thought a launch unit? She is a launch unit, right? She was one of the units that was in the game when the game first came out, even when it was back in the, you know, beta phase, right? One of the first units in the game. One of the first 5 stars, right? And back then, of all the 5 stars, if you look at, like, you know, when the game first came out, like reroll guides or this or whatever, or rank the best 5 stars, everyone ranked her as the worst 5-star. Like, even among the 5 stars back then, which were all, like, back then, we had Karen in there, right? Which, before her grid expansion, we all knew Karen's issues. Brendan, which was always good. Brendan was always good. And, like, Phoebe. And, like, people even put, like, Rosa in there. And competing with these units, they had her ranked the worst. They had her ranked the worst. And to go from that, a launch unit, into 2022, she hits harder than some Master Fairs in this game now. She hits harder than some Master Fairs. Like, there's a bunch of Master Fairs that she straight up just, like, beats in damage. Is better in terms of self-sufficiency. Right, has better teams than, right? Multiple Master Fairs, Poke Fairs, she is straight up better than. A launch unit that everyone considered was one of the worst units, you know, worst 5 stars in the game. So, if there was a Most Improved award, you know what? There is a Most Improved award. I made it up, and I'm giving it out. I made it up on the spot. Congratulations, Chris and Fraligator, for being the recipient of the post. Totally made it up on the spot. Most Improved award for 2022 in Pokemon Masters EX. This is yours, Chris. Okay. So yeah, she went from like one of the units that people memed on the most to an absolute monster damage dealer. Complete monster of a damage dealer. And again, it's not just them. It's not just the damage, right? It's all the other stuff that they fixed within this grid. Like, she's like, legitimately, you could DPS with her Mega Kick, you can nuke with her as a striker nuke. You got Waterfall with solid damage in Waterfall too, by the way, but like Waterfall for like just flinch traps against something like Entei or whatever. Like, she obliterates Entei. Entei gets like, oh my god, completely squashed by her, right? You don't even need rain, you don't even need anything. Just throw her in there and like she does the job on her own, right? Insane unit. And don't forget that this was also the year that Chris got her EX expansion. So yeah, it's not just the grid expansion. She also got an EX, which, yeah, it's a grid plus the EX. And obviously for a, you know, striker nuker that has two times, you know, 100% buff sync nuke multipliers, having that AoE is very, very good, right? So yeah, yeah. I just really like, man, how you know, Pokemon Masters like brings a lot of like super old units, and every single year they try to improve them. You know, not every single improvement meets the mark, but at least they put in the effort to make old units not completely irrelevant. So even if you pull a unit from all the way back in 2019 when the game first launched, it's still useful. It's still very, 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 very powerful, and she could legitimately compete with like some of the top damage dealers in the entire game, right? So, well, okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Okay, she's not competing with like Deoxys, but like, you know, it's maybe like a tier 2 tiers lower units, like something like Annie Lily, right? I mean, pretty sure she does more damage than Annie Lily at least, right? But you know, it's stuff like Annie Lily, Annie Steven, the lose me from last year, whatever, right? I mean, a launch unit, man. I think it's cool. So, anyways, yeah, that's for this one. Hope you all enjoyed, guys. Think in the comments down below. Enjoy vision times, blah blah blah. I can't even. I've been speaking for 45 minutes. I really need to drink water. But anyways, this list again totally arbitrary. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there's just way too many factors, right? That I'm not gonna go over again over here because it's like an entire list of factors. It's almost impossible, basically impossible for anyone watching this to have like the exact same list as me, because again, there's just so many factors and people value different factors totally differently, right? For example, some people might value how good a unit overall is, right? Or how much more damage this unit does, which, you know, if you're doing that, then like something like Raihan would be a lot higher. Or if you just value, like, I don't know, like how much better was this unit compared to like how trash it was before, then like Glacier would be maybe higher, right? So yeah, a lot of different factors. Again, I try my best to weigh them, my best to build these semi-balanced, but it's an impossible task. It's an impossible task. You could put something out there and then like no one's gonna agree. So also, it doesn't matter that much. It's just like a list for fun, to be fair. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put in the disclaimer over here. Boom. There we go. That we usually have. But yeah. All right. Okay. Have fun, folks. I'm gonna go drink some water, and I'll see you guys in the next one.